Muted.
Cover on today's call, we're creating user-defined assets, running reports on user-defined assets, and then using a user-defined asset to peg performance to a report in our system here. So the first thing I'm going to do is walk you through how we create a user-defined asset in our system. The first thing you would do is, you should all be familiar with this, our home page here. You would simply click on the list icon, open up our assets folder, and in our assets folder, you should all have a managed models folder set up. And what you'd want to do is open up this managed models folder and create your own subfolder, however you'd want to title it. For today's demo, I've simply titled the folder AdvisoryWorld, and what I'll be doing is creating a new asset within this AdvisoryWorld folder. So what I'm going to do is click on the AdvisoryWorld folder, click New here, and then select New Asset. This is going to allow me to enter all of the parameters I need to find the asset and then run reports on it. So here what I can do is I can actually title this position anything I'd like. So for today, what I'll call this is AdvisoryWorld Test. And I'm going to give this position a unique ticker. And it does need to be a ticker that's not in our system. So for today, what I'm going to do is title this position AW_test. I know that's going to be a unique ticker in our system, and I'm going to actually create this position as an investment, which is going to allow me to peg a benchmark to this position for comparison. To do that, I simply open up the classification folder, expand my asset list, and select the appropriate asset class to peg this to. Again, for the sake of simplicity, today I'm just going to select the S&P 500. Everyone should be familiar with that benchmark. Everything's here in alphabetical order. I'm going to find my S&P 500 reinvested. So I've now created my position name. I've created a ticker. I've pegged it to a benchmark. Now I'm going to go ahead and upload returns for this position. To do that, I simply expand the historical performance section here. And I'm going to download the CSV template I'm actually going to use. I'll title this file and open this up. And this is going to give me the template I need to get my user-defined position created and put into the system. So here, what I would recommend doing is you can simply copy the ticker and paste it on here. The ticker does need to match exactly with the ticker that's entered into our system. So copying and pasting for me seems to be the easiest way to do it. Here, I'm going to enter some return streams as well. And I'm going to start by entering some dates. Now, I want to go back a little bit on this. So what I'll do is I'll start entering dates maybe in early 2009 to get a fully populated report. Now, I'm not going to sit here and type dates all the way from 2009 for every month end to today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let Excel do some of the work for us. I'll simply type in the first couple dates I want to start with. I'll select these two and let Excel populate all the way through month end November of this year. I have my date column populated. I'm simply going to copy the ticker all the way down as well. Now the return on this sheet does need to be entered in Excel format. For example, if the monthly return was 10%, you'd want to enter 0.10. For the case of this example, I'm going to use a really simple return stream. I'm just going to pretend that this position returned 1% monthly. I'm going to take that return stream and I'm going to copy and paste it all the way down. Now I've created my ticker, I've entered my date range, and I've got my returns into this file. I'm going to go ahead and save this, always using the CSV format. And I'm simply going to load this file in by clicking on the icon next to historical performance, selecting my file, and clicking Save. Now our system's created this position in the database. It stored the unique ticker, and it stored the historical returns for this position. Now, if I want to run reports on this position, it's as simple as using that ticker and going into a new hypothetical. I simply enter the ticker. My position comes up with beginning and end date, and I can add this to the illustration. Now, let's say this position was part of a larger portfolio. Maybe this is a private placement that doesn't have publicly published returns here, but we're adding this in a model with other equities or mutual funds. I can simply add the other tickers here. And create my commingled portfolio. Now for this case, I'm just going to go ahead and run a report on the user-defined portfolio. I just want to, or position, I just want to show you that you can create a portfolio with this position as well. So really it'd be as simple as allocating to this position, entering any fees or cash flows I want to show, and then simply building the reports. So here what I'll do is I'll build a hypothetical performance comparing our user-defined position to the S&P 500. Again, the report's going to work like it would with any other asset. I'll have my output fairly quickly here, showing me how this position did compared to the S&P. So again, fairly quickly, I was able to create this position, allocate to it, and have a report published showing me how this position compares to a benchmark. I'll also get my full calendar year returns. And really, the full gamut of reports is available on this user-defined position as it would be on any equity or mutual fund in our system. So really quickly, that was how I create a user-defined position, create a ticker for it, enter it into our system, and build any reports I'd want on it. Now, another really neat feature that I have here with this user-defined position is I have the ability to use a user-defined position. Let's say, for example, maybe rather than a user-defined position, these are returns from my model. So, I have a model that's being, I'm monitoring the returns and performance on that model, and I have the current allocation, but I'd like to show the client the current allocation using how my models historically performed. So what I've done in our system is I've set up this sample model. You notice I do a couple of mutual funds in here. I've allocated to them in the whole 9. So I've created this illustration just like I would if I wanted to reports on these positions. But what I'm going to do here is rather than use the position returns, I'm actually going to create a holding scan report, which is going to show me the current allocation, but use my user-defined returns for the report. So here I would simply do that by clicking on Parameters next to Holding Scan. I'm going to click on Select Edit Performance Settings. And rather than hypothetical performance, I'm going to display Model Net Performance. And I'm going to go ahead and select what I want to use. So here I could use a list to find this position, but since I know the ticker, I'm simply going to go ahead and put in my ticker. Select this as a position to use pull returns from. And here the system will ask me what percentage of the models or returns do you want allocated to this position. I'm going to go ahead and say 100. Click OK here. OK here. I'm going to go ahead and save here and build this report. So what I was able to do is create a hypothetical or holding scan report, which is going to pop up for us briefly. And what this report is showing us is the macro allocation and asset class allocation based on my current position holdings. So the macro allocation is actually taking a look at the current allocation I'm in, letting me know how these funds are broken down. I'm getting an asset class allocation on the current holdings. However, all of the trailing returns and risk versus return graph here, all of the numbers are populated using my custom numbers. Now obviously the standard deviation and Sharpe ratio didn't populate, nor did the beta, as I have a totally flat return file. But just to give you an example, the best and worst case analysis is also populated using my custom returns. Equity properties, fixed income properties, metrics, top equity sectors and countries, as well as overlap, are all populated using my current model holdings. So really, again, a neat way to go ahead and use a user-defined position to show performance for what might be your model there. So that function is also available on a few of our other reports, and really anywhere where you can select your performance settings and display model net performance, you have the ability to use a user-defined position in lieu of the actual allocation. Again, just a neat way to show model performance. And again, all of this is housed in our database, which can be found on the home page by clicking on List, expanding this Assets folder, and I would suggest you create all of your user-defined positions in your Manage Models folder. If you need any help navigating your individual screen, if you don't see a Manage Models folder or have any questions about how to navigate this area, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to set up a one-on-one call with you, walk you through this process, and make sure you're getting the most out of the system here. So really, today's call, what I wanted to cover was creation of a user-defined asset, running reports on that, and then using a user-defined asset to substitute performance for a model. Pretty much covered all of that today, and I have a few minutes left. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions. If you have any questions, please type them into the question box on the chat dialog here. I'm going to go ahead and hang out and answer any questions that come up. Okay, so first question I got is actually via email, not in the question dialog box. That's all right. Questions asking, how do I get to this list section again? So real quick, after logging in, what you're going to do is right at the home page under Analytical Illustrations, you're going to click on the blue List folder. And in here, you're going to go ahead and expand this asset list, which is going to show you all the subsets that are available. And you should see a Manage Models folder in there. Next question is, how do you open the asset list? So again, real quick, clicking on this list folder, it would be as simple as clicking this plus next to the asset list. If any of you are having a problem doing that, I would venture that you're using Internet Explorer. We do have a known issue with certain versions of Internet Explorer where some of these asset lists might not expand. So I would suggest simply going to a Google Chrome or different browser, and you should be able to simply click on this plus and expand any of these lists here. Next question I see is how to access this webinar and other webinars that highlight the various features. We do plan on putting that up on the website. On the AdvisoryWorld website, there is a resources section. Let me take you there real quick here. If you go to our home page, on the resources tab, the fourth one over, there's a SCANalytics resource section, which is going to give you a lot of information, a user manual, a getting started guide, explanations on reports, and I do plan on publishing our videos and posting them online very soon as well. If there's anything specific you're interested in, please email me. I'll be happy to track that down for you or get you the most information I can on that topic. Next question I see is there a way to enter asset value at the end of each month instead of actual return for the period? That's kind of what we were doing with the user-defined position, is we actually entered the month-end returns here. So I'm not sure if that's answering the question, but if I didn't answer the question there, we can do this on a month-end basis, and I believe we can also do this quarterly. I'd be happy to answer that for you on a one-on-one basis. Please shoot me an email or give me a call. You should all have my email address. It's where you registered for this webinar. My phone number here, if you need to get a hold of me, is 800-480-3888. I'm at extension 105. So again, I'll be hanging out here answering any questions that are typed into the question dialog box. Otherwise, I've covered most of what I wanted to go over on the call today. If you have any questions that I maybe didn't address today or anything specific to how you might be using this at your firm, please reach out to me and we can discuss that individually. So my 800 number, one more time, is 800-480-3888. I'm at extension 105, and you can reach our general support line by pushing extension 2. Again, I'm going to hang out for another minute here, but thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to join us on this training session. We hope to see you on our future training sessions. And again, if there's any questions, concerns, or anything we can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or anyone at the support team here at AdvisoryWorld. Thank you very much for attending. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the webinar. Thank you all for your time. Have a great day.